Welcome to Crossbody of Work. My name is Evan.
I am Javier.
This week we may be covering the greatest professional wrestler in the opinion of one Javier.
Oh yeah, this is absolutely my pick.
This was absolutely your pick. This week on the podcast, we cover the career of René Duprée. If you're watching on YouTube, as you should with all of these, Javier is currently doing the little prancy dance that René Duprée would do.
I do my little dancey dance. It's just, listen, can I explain why René Duprée was one of my favorite wrestlers?
Can you kick it? Yes, you can. Go ahead.
I don't know how to explain it.
Can I ask?
It's hard to explain. I just
and then doesn't know how to explain.
I said, can I explain it? I said it in a question tone.
As if like literally, can you?
No, I can't. I literally cannot explain why. He just was. He's just one of those. I'm sure you probably had one of those when you were younger. Just a guy that you cannot explain why you like. Was it New Jack? Did you like New Jack as a kid?
No, but actually, I mean, I did like New Jack, but only because I feared that if I didn't, he'd find me where I slept. But no, I have similar thing with other athletes. Wrestling, I can usually explain like why I was into that particular person. But like there are certain. It's good. Like if you're watching YouTube, you see I'm currently in my old Leafs jersey. And there were a couple Leafs players that I was like, I don't know what it is, but I like the cut of his jib. I'm going to cheer for him and hope we never trade him. Look at you, Matt Stajan. That's my guy. It's my boy.
I couldn't name you a current Leafs player.
Of course you've never heard of him. Yes, you can.
You can name Austin Matthews.
There you go. You can name Austin Matthews. So the love for René Duprée is inexplicable, but it is fair because he's a Canadian and therefore wonderful.
Jesus Christ, not you. Since when are you Team Canada? We're 100. How many episodes are we into this? 101?
This is 175.
175. And you're just now pulling out the pro Canada card.
I'm consistently pro Canada.
No, you have an appreciation for your country, but you're never like fucking Canada.
Oh, fucking right, buddy. So if you've never listened to us, that was probably quite a weird way to start the podcast, but that's okay. We look at a wrestler through 5 of their most important matches, or sometimes more understandably, 5 matches we can find on the internet. This week, of course, we're covering René Duprée. Before we get into it, 2 housekeeping notes. 1, subscribe on YouTube. If you haven't, you'll see all of our wonderful content. We have our bonus episodes that come out every Wednesday. You should also like all the videos. Javier's giving the thumbs up. You should hit subscribe. We have fun shorts. I think I'm very funny. I also did a very fun YouTube short on the 10 best pink wrestling attires recently because of Barbie.
Ooh.
Yeah, go watch that.
Saw Oppenheimer over the weekend.
I'm so excited to see Oppenheimer this weekend. So no spoilies. No spoilies about what happens in World War II. You should also go listen to my other podcast this week, Pop Capsule Podcast, because Javier was a guest on it. And we talked about Spy Kids 3D.
Yes, some would say the pop culture equivalent to René Duprée.
Spy Kids 3D. Honestly, that's a fair assessment.
It's me at least. One of my favorite movies when I was a kid.
And you don't know why. We talked about Spy Kids 3D. We talked about the Wolverine. We talked about lots of stuff. It was a really good time. We're in the middle of our Guestapalooza where we have different guests on. And of course, I had to make my 2 pod worlds collide once again. So go and listen to Pop Capsule Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. René Duprée, born in Moncton, New Brunswick, which is weird with all the Quebec stuff.
That's like up there.
No, it's out east. If you go up from Maine,
up there, so this is Canada.
Yeah, okay.
And then I'm pointing up there.
Normally, whenever anyone says up there in relation to Canada, they mean where the polar bears are. So
no, we're not talking about Manitoba.
That's right. He is the son of a promoter named Émile Duprée, whose real last name is Gauguin. René Duprée, of course, is very famous for being young when he started. Very young in the business, especially in WWE. Before we dive in, what do you know about René Duprée? Tell me what you think the René Duprée career arc is.
That he is essentially, much like his predecessor, Rey Mysterio, he's a part of a long line of guys who were way too fucking young wrestling. Like it was Ray.
Okay, yeah.
Then he passed the torch to Renee. Renee passed the torch to Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne passed the torch to Nick Wayne. I'm sure there's like a 5-year-old right now who in 3 years is going to start wrestling, and Nick Wayne's going to pass the torch to him.
Honestly, how young do you think the youngest wrestler will be in like GCW? Like they'll put like a 13-year-old in the ring.
How old is John Moxley's daughter?
Like 4?
There you go. Give it a
Oh,
year.
CZ Dub. CZ Dub. So it's weird because normally when we start these episodes, we have a match from whenever they first kind of make it to a big promotion or the indies after they have made it to ECW, WWE, WWF, WCW, AEW, whatever. This one, we have a match from sometime in 1998. René Duprée in this clip is 15 years old.
Yeah.
And he's wrestling somewhere in Eastern Canada, somewhere around Quebec or the Maritimes. That's where he's wrestling against a man named the Cuban Assassin, if I got that right.
Yes, it is the Cuban Assassin, and they listed him at like 227 pounds.
Did you catch what they listed 15-year-old René at?
236 pounds.
He is beefy. And like
Now,
René Duprée is a big guy.
Him I can believe at 236.
Yes.
Cuban Assassin, that brother's pushing 280. That man's got a gut the size of Manitoba.
René Duprée is 6'3", 260 listed on Wikipedia. So at 15, already being 236 is impressive.
Yeah, I mean, he's a tall-looking guy, to be fair. He's built the fuck. Yeah. His back is bigger than my goddamn life.
René is introduced as René Rougeau here, so this is before he really took on the Duprée name. And of course, Rougeau, very popular name in Quebecois wrestling. You have the Rougeau. It just makes sense to also be a Rougeau. This clip's also from Café de René, which is René Dupree's podcast. Very cool.
That's where I found most of
these.
Like,
we'd love to have René come on and talk about all of his stuff. That'd be fantastic.
If we could get fucking René Duprée on this podcast, I would move mountains to make that happen. For one,
you would,
and
you
two,
wouldn't be okay.
I would not be able to be here. I would not be able to take part in the podcast recording.
We would have me asking questions and Javier just going.
I would be like Mitch McConnell, just.
Oh my god! Great reference. This is filmed on a Handycam, and Cuban Assassin is in cargo pants with a beer belly and a goatee and a receding hairline, and he looks fantastic. So you're doing great, sweetie.
He looks like, I don't know how to phrase this in a way that isn't kind of insulting. To the person I'm about to compare him to. He looks a little bit like Afa from the Wild Samoans if he were like a little more Latino looking, and now, like literally now.
I get what you mean. Like it's the body type, but like Afa's obviously built.
He's got like the same facial hair a little bit too.
Yeah,
he's got like the hair kind of looks also similar.
This is filmed like you could tell me that he's the Sasquatch because of the way this is filmed. Like it's on a Handycam from '98. What do you think is going to happen?
Hey man, UFOs just got confirmed, so Sasquatch is possible.
Yeah, speaking of unidentified objects, Cuban Assassin has something in his boot. So that's an unidentified object for you, too. This one is an unidentified foreign object. What do you think of the match?
Metal pipe. I mean, look, it's a very old Cuban dude wrestling a 15-year-old. Like,
I was impressed with René. I think that's the point.
It's mostly just him selling. Like he kicks Cuban back into the corner, and then he just starts getting his left arm worked over. Cuban Assassin puts on a side headlock and starts making crazy noises, literally like the noises you would expect from like one of the monsters or ghouls or whatever from like Scooby-Doo. Like before you find out that they're a person, like basically what they sound like when like there's like a kind of like an undead zombie guy that's like pretty famous.
Yeah,
as one of like prominent monsters. He sounds just like that guy.
It's pretty weird. Also, we should mention Cuban Assassin has a partner, Cuban Assassin 2 Electric Boogaloo. And at one point, Cuban Assassin hits a forearms and a snapmare, tosses René from the ring, and Assassin 2 gets some kicks in at ringside.
Yes, sir. It becomes bullying at a certain point here.
It really does.
At what point is this just like a 15-year-old getting his ass kicked by his old man? Because like it's really just like him clubbing blows to René.
Not like clubbing either. Like
No, like
none of that.
we're not fucking listening to what is the guy's name? Troye Sivan, is that?
I thought you were about to say DJ Pauly D. So we were on two different wavelengths.
Well, he's got this new song called Rush that is the club song
Rush.
of the century, by the way.
Oh, what a rush.
And so like it's just like he's clubbing him, he's like putting him in holds. It's very much like old wrestler with the big fat gut is just like, fuck this new guy.
Yeah, and then once Renee gets some offense in, it looks really good. That happens after Cuban Assassin has the foreign object, which straight up looks like a shiv.
It does. He uses it like a shiv. It's just like a small metal pipe.
And he just, instead of like hitting him with it, he like tries to stab Renee with it. It's kind of weird. And
honestly, you know what it looks like? It looks like a straw, but made of metal.
Yeah, one of those eco-friendly straws.
Yeah.
Back in 1998.
Yeah.
Renee gets some offense. He gets a leaping clothesline, power slam for a 2, back body drop, puts Cuban in the crab, and then Cuban Assassin 2 breaks it up for the DQ. So it is a win for René Rougeau here. And then a double clothesline by René Rougeau sends them to the outside.
Love a good double clothesline.
It is good.
Most over thing in wrestling right now is a double clothesline.
Is it?
Yeah, well, MJF and Adam Cole made it so.
Oh, that's fair. So in April of 2002, Gargano signed with the WWF, making him the youngest wrestler to sign at the age of 18, and he debuted October 9th, 2002 in OVW under the name René Duprée, obviously named after his father. After weeks of vignettes, Sylvain Grenier and Dupree made their first appearance on the April 28, 2003 episode of Raw as La Résistance. They attacked Scott Steiner because 2 weeks earlier, Scott Steiner had compared France to hell, which sounds like a thing Scott Steiner would say with no provocation. Sounds like something he would say every day.
You know what my favorite thing about La Résistance is? So they got these like vignettes and everything, but I don't think this is the first iteration of the team. The first iteration, I'm pretty sure, was Sylvain with Rob Conway.
No. So, this is the first iteration. And
is
then
it?
Comes the Rob Conway iteration. Yes. I will explain the La Résistance lore.
History?
Yeah, in a bit.
Yeah. So Renee, so again, yes, like you said, it's Kane and RVD who are apparently having marital strifes or whatever. I don't know what's going on with them.
Yes. So this is pretty early on into La Résistance's debut. So they debuted, like I said, end of April 2003, and by Bad Blood, which I believe is June or July at this point in the calendar, they are challenging for the World Tag Team Championships against Rob Van Dam and Kane.
You mean end of 2002? Because I'm pretty sure this is 2003.
No, this is 2003. That's like what I said. They debuted in 2003, end of April, and within a couple of months, they were already challenging for the tag titles against, like you said, marital problem RVD and Kane.
Well, it's just because Renee is clearly the most talented individual in the world. You got to strap the rocket to him. It's totally not because it's a thin tag division by this point or anything like that.
Whenever you see a real tag team between the years 2002 and 2005, you just be thrilled. You'd be thrilled. You're like, oh my God, they have matching gear. All right,
like
I'm in.
Do you know how much Paul London and Brian Kendrick changed the game?
You're so right. Honestly,
the game.
Like, and there was always like at least 2 on SmackDown, and like it was like there was Los Guerreros, and there was the world's greatest, like Team Angle, the world's greatest tag team. Like there was always at least like 1 or 2 who were like really like fuck it. Even the Bashams, give the Bashams some.
Yes, credit. Shout out to Deuce and Domino too.
Oh my God.
Eminem,
Deuce and Domino get more airplay on this podcast than anywhere else. They randomly get brought up like once every 2 months.
Deuce and Domino.
Well, one of them didn't catch the Undertaker properly. All right. What did you think of this contest?
I mean, it's not long enough for me to say anything. I thought that La Resistance looked good. I mean, as far as like tag team chemistry, I thought they played off of each other very well. It's clear that these guys are like, you could see the talent, especially in Renee. You could see like, oh, if he like puts it together, this guy could be like a big deal for this company. And because I mean, the guy looks like $1 million.
He's got like, we got to put that out there too. Renee has the look 100%, especially right here. Like chiseled, good looking guy. Just like he can do it.
Back wider than an interstate.
Back wider than Manitoba, eh?
So the match starts. It's René against RVD. René gets the advantage pretty early, and he starts doing his little dancey dance.
He does this little dancey dance. He pushes RVD in the corner. Quick roll up. Dupree avoids the spin kick. RVD does the taunt to the crowd. RVD hits his beautiful step over spinning heel kick whenever he grabs the guy's leg. It's really good.
And then he stares at Kane.
He does, which is weird. Springboard crossbody by RVD for a 2. During this, if you're listening to commentary, Jim Ross is talking about how he'd rather have baby back ribs than squab and snails. And honestly, good decision.
I have never had escargot before, but I have had squab. It's pretty good, honestly.
Squab's not bad. I too
Squab's
have
good.
not had.
No, it's not even not bad. Squab is really good. It depends on what you pair it with, obviously.
Have you had quail?
I have had quail. Quail is also really good.
Quail's delicious.
Quail's got it's weird because it's like a little. It's not super juicy, but it's still moist somehow.
How does it do that?
I don't know. I don't get it because there's also not that much to it either. Quails are fucking small.
Quails are small.
Bomb
escargot, not for me. Not for anyone.
Yeah, I don't know that I'll be trying that one. Maybe once before I die, just to make sure I don't like it. But
I feel like you have to. Are you an oyster guy? Because if you're an oyster guy, I feel like
I don't like slimy shit.
That's the thing is, I feel like that's like the gateway food to escargot is like oysters, and then
my thing with oysters is if the whole thing, people are like, oh, you just gotta suck it down. You just suck it straight down. It's like if I'm not tasting it, what's the point?
You ever have like such a stuffy nose that it's like coming into your throat from the other side?
Yes.
That's what I imagine oyster tastes like, and I'm just like, nah.
Wait, you've just never had one?
No, I saw one, and I saw somebody shoot it. I was like, absolutely not.
All right, here's the thing. Like, one, you should have it just so you could experience it. But two, it's just not good. It doesn't taste very good. It's an unpleasant feeling going down. I don't even know how to describe. It's like, have you ever had like those like gummy like sharks?
Yes.
Yeah, just like kind of imagine sucking one of those straight down.
Oh. Anyways, there's a wrestling match going on. Kane distracts the ref by accident. Grenier pulls RVD's face down into a stun gun. La Resistance get the advantage. Sylvain Grenier's in. This is the only time we're going to see Sylvain Grenier during this whole episode, and honestly, not bad.
He'll get an episode eventually, maybe like 10 years from now, but he'll get an episode.
I was going to say, it'll be a while. Ross keeps calling him Grenier too. Like, he just can't get the Grenier.
Well, Grenier is how you pronounce the beverage, isn't it? Or not the beverage. What's that shit you put in Shirley Temples? It's like, because it's like Sprite and then it's
Grenadine?
It's Grenadier. It's Grenadine. Yeah. No, never mind.
Grenadier.
Evan, edit that part out. Don't let the people see that.
Absolutely not. Reverse chinlock by Dupree and Enzuigiri by RVD and a hot tag to Kane. Kane's hot tag is awesome.
Yeah. It's punches. It's big boots. But you know who's really good at punches and big boots? Fucking Kane.
Grenier dives on the top rope, gets a two-hand choke slam for his trouble. Side slam on Dupree. Kane gets up, does his diving strike for a 2. Then La Resistance with a nice neck breaker combo, and Kane immediately sits up and hits a double clothesline.
Yeah, I mean, René hits the neck breaker, and Grenier does the that thing Finn Balor does, where he like turns and then clubs his arm straight down on the person. It's kind of like a sling blade, but not really. He basically did the clubbing down part.
I feel like Sylvain Grenier loves clubbing. I feel like he would go clubbing. I feel like he'd love it. I feel like René Duprée would also love clubbing.
Hey, who knows? Oh,
tagged RVD, diving sidekick, Kane at ringside, and Grenier tosses him into the ring post after a thumb to the eye. RVD knocks down Grenier. Duprée gets dumped to the outside too. RVD's like, all right, I'm in the ring alone, and there's people on the outside of the ring. Naturally, I must do one thing and one thing only, and that is jump at them like a madman. Because that's what he does.
But we talk about the setups in wrestling today being stupid.
This one's pretty bad. RVD then does a tope, but ends up hitting Kane as Kane just walks forward a little bit.
And La Resistance is
like pulling back. Him. Like I'm gonna put that in heavy quotes. So they're pulling him backwards.
Ain't pulling shit. They use their gravitational pull.
Yeah, they draw. René Duprée draws Kane.
Well, he is a draw. So
Exactly. And so he ends up hitting Kane, the Frenchman in, double flapjack, and we have new tag champs.
You know what's funny is I'm pretty sure that's the finisher of the Mighty Don't Kneel, like the tag
It
team.
100% is.
And I'm like, damn, they took it from La Resistance. That's crazy.
Damn, no resistance. At the time, Dupree became the youngest wrestler in WWE history to not only win the World Tag Team Championship, but any championship in the company's history at 19 years old, and also as a result of winning the title, he was the first teenager to hold a championship. Dupree held this distinction until when? Who is now the youngest person to have held a title in WWE?
Is it Tyler Bate?
Nope.
Oh, God. Is this like a recent occurrence?
WrestleMania 34.
Oh, the kid. What the fuck's his name?
He was surpassed by Nicholas when he won the Raw Tag Team Championship at age 10. John Cone's son, Nicholas, who I wanted.
Count? Does that officially count?
It's official. I really wanted him to turn on Braun Strowman so bad and just like kick him in the balls.
He can't get his leg that high.
Well,
he's
punch
10.
him in the balls.
He's got a fucking headbutt him there. Like,
we're gonna take our first break. When we get back, René Duprée goes solo. Back from the break, La Resistance would add Rob Conway. The way that this happened was Rob Conway was presented as a U.S. serviceman who was being accosted by La Resistance, and then the Dudley Boys came out to like support him. And Rob Conway then beat the shit out of the Dudley Boys and hit them with something. I think it was a flag.
Because the Dudley Boys are the perfect representation of America.
And so then Conway joined up with La Resistance. Grenier suffered a back injury in October of 2003. Dupree and Conway would hold the team together until Grenier's return on March 15th, 2004. But then the very next week, Dupree was drafted to Raw or to SmackDown in the lottery. So they really they just weren't allowed to be together. Not as a trio, not that way.
No.
And when he became a to SmackDown, he became a singles guy. And he was at Great American Bash 2004, challenging for a United States Championship against three other Hall of Famers.
Literal Hall of Famers.
Call them what it is. Booker T, John Cena, and Rob Van Dam. Fourth Hall of Famer in there, René Duprée.
It should be a Hall of Famer.
Start the campaign. Sorry, Sid, you have to wait longer.
Why does Sid not get a spot? They put like 6 people in every year.
I don't know why Sid doesn't get a spot. I truly don't. Sid deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
No, it's not even that. It's that you're telling Sid to wait another year. Like they pick one a year.
Well, I mean,
they
Sid
go in.
It was going to be Renee's. It was going to be your spot, but we gave it to René Duprée instead. So you picked the promo this week. Why this promo?
Honestly, it's the first thing that popped up when I typed in René Duprée promo, but also because it involves John Cena.
There is no more scientific method than the way we pick things for this podcast.
I mean, listen, man. If it involves John Cena, I'm gonna pick it.
He's guns to pick it. So let's talk about René Dupree's promo ability. So you're handicapped a little bit by the gimmick, right? Like, so Kevin Owens has a French Canadian accent. He does. Like, that's just the way he talks.
Sami Zayn for a little bit.
But that's not his character, so it's not played up. I'm sure if given the opportunity, René Duprée could speak without as much accent, but that's not what the character's going to be. So he has to ham it up. It seems. I don't know if it is hamming up or not. Correct us if we're wrong, René. But
René talks pretty normal.
Yeah. So like he's clearly hamming up a little bit here, and I think that does kind of hamper the delivery a little bit.
I will say this is a pretty good promo.
There's nothing I think more stressful than like for the average wrestler than like here's 60 seconds live promo time. Hit your marks and go. Like all of these people are athletes, right?
Yeah.
But I think for some of them, it's like I have to talk for fucking 60 seconds to Michael Cole about what's going on. Yeah. I don't want to do that. Like that sounds really stressful.
I don't know. It's like, some of these guys are athletes. Some of these guys are absolutely entertainers. But I also think that entertainment has multiple forms. Like some of these guys are entertainers physically. Yeah. Like Ricochet is a great physical entertainer, probably the best in the world right now. But a guy can't cut a promo to save his life.
But he does the
Um,
thing where he jumps out of the ring, and everyone goes,
and that's
"Ooh, he
entertaining as
jumped out of the
hell.
ring."
But
Ooh.
also, when he opens his mouth, I'm like, okay, please shut it.
Here, though, René Duprée, pretty good. He's talking
Yeah.
about he's running down all three of his opponents that he has tonight.
Since he doesn't have, he tells Josh, because he's having a conversation with Josh Matthews here. He goes,
That's who it is. It's not Michael Cole. It's Josh
yeah.
Matthews.
He says, even though he doesn't have one, not two, but three opponents tonight, the first of which likes to call himself Mr. Thursday Night or Mr. Pay-Per-View, but RVD can start calling himself Mr. I Got Beat Twice by René Duprée.
I mean,
Good
RVD
bar.
was the first man out in this elimination match, so
Hey,
but
it's a
he
good
wasn't
bar right there.
he wasn't pinned by René Duprée.
Then he turns his attention to Booker, who says he's far superior to other SmackDown superstars. He says after tonight, he's going to realize that he's far less superior than René Duprée.
There you go, 2 for 2.
And then he goes, and then John Cena. He likes to say, you can't see me. But Renee says, I can see him pretty clear. I can see that he's nothing more than an American low-life thug, and he's a disgrace to the United States Championship.
That's so sad. Like, he's not a low-life thug. It's not his fault he got stabbed by Carlito's bodyguard.
Hey, he's the doctor of thugonomics.
Yeah, he's a doctor. He has a doctorate.
He's got the street degree.
In thugonometry.
He says, how great is it going to be when René Duprée is holding the French flag in one hand and the United States Championship in the other? Très magnifique.
It will be much magnificent. Very magnificent. That's me. I get to be the translator this week because I have a rudimentary understanding of French. Well done.
Yeah, baguette. I know like maximum 10 words in French.
Dupree does what he needs to do in the promo. He's an entertaining guy. He would be eliminated second in this match after an
So
FU
not
from
first.
John Cena. No, Rob Van Dam was eliminated first. So
Just saying. Not
yeah,
first.
I mean, the rest of this, like, this is a SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view. And the main event is, you may remember, the Undertaker Dudley Boys Concrete Crypt match where Undertaker kills Paul Heyman.
I'm sorry, you said what? You said it's the what now?
You remember that match?
No, I do not remember this match.
Oh my god.
Did we cover it?
We did, and we're definitely going to have to put on a mini-sode at some point because you'll have a great time.
Concrete? Did you say concrete crypt?
Yeah.
Like
Undertaker,
Bloods and Crips?
No, Crypt.
Oh.
Undertaker needs to beat the Dudley Boys, or else he will. The Dudley Boys will murder Paul Bearer by encasing him in concrete in like this big glass crypt they've made, and then Undertaker beats the Dudley Boys and then decides to kill Paul Bearer anyways.
You said Paul Heyman earlier, and I was like, he killed Paul Heyman?
Oh, that's because it says Paul Heyman is with the Dudley Boys because Paul Heyman was managing the Dudley Boys at this time. So that's on me. But yeah, Paul Bearer was eliminated there. Also, Luther Reigns had a match on the show. So, it was good.
Hey, that's, he had an Oscar-worthy performance.
I'm going to rewatch
The Girl Next Door.
Because Mordecai defeats Hardcore Holly on this show, too.
The disrespect. Not only just Mordecai, but SAG-AFTRA, employee Luther Reigns.
I was like, where are you going with this? All right, speaking of where we're going, WWE had no idea where to go with their tag team division for a while. And so that leads us to this tag team of René Duprée teaming up with Kenzo Suzuki against Billy Kidman and Paul London for the WWE Tag Team Championship SmackDown September 9th, 2004. At this point, René Duprée has Fifi, the dog, with him. I do like having dogs as your accompaniment at ringside. I think that's great. Kenzo Suzuki has Hiroko with him, which is his geisha. So you've got the whole crew out there, whole families coming through.
Whole squad on my real shit.
There is nothing more common in WWE than two non-Americans bonding over the fact that they hate the country they work in.
I also hate the country that I work in.
But you're from there.
Because I have to work here. Anyways.
I hate
the way I popped when I saw Fifi, I think I scared the shit out of my cat. And another thing, Evan, list off some of the great mix mashed tag teams. So what do we got? We got like Sheamus and Cesaro,
Goldust Booker T is a personal
Goldust, Booker
favorite.
T. Kane and RVD, or
Kane
Kane
and
pretty much in
everybody.
anybody.
Kane
Yeah,
and Xbox, Kane and Hurricane, Kane and RVD, like Kane and Brian, right? Like those are
yeah,
all mishmash tag
all
teams.
great. None of them better than Kenzo Suzuki and René Duprée. This
So
is not only two cultures coming together and blending in such a seamless way. Mind you, I can't think of a better way of getting 3 Michelin stars than opening up a French Japanese restaurant. I can't. And you know what the equivalent of a 3 Michelin star restaurant is in pro wrestling? Winning the World Tag Team Champions. And who did it? Kenzo Suzuki and René Duprée. Are they the 3 Michelin star tag team of pro wrestling? Yes, they are.
There's so much to unpack there. We don't have time for all of that. But
so the match
I do want to say, I think the reason we're covering René Duprée is at some point, like months ago, we offhand. Well, I know it came up when we talked about Billy Kidman a couple episodes ago, like 10 weeks ago or something like that. But also, offhandedly, a while ago, we mentioned Kenzo Suzuki and René Duprée, and I have never seen you light up like that. It unlocked something deep in your psyche, and you were like, I fucking love that team. And I was like,
I did. I loved that team when I was a child. You guys have to understand, Great American Bash, what is this, 2004?
Yeah.
I would have been like 6. Because I wasn't 7 yet, because my birthday's in October. So I would have been 6. So, just like seeing the dog probably helped a bunch, even though I'm not the biggest poodle guy. Seeing René Duprée, who I already liked because of La Résistance, I always thought, oh, these French fucks, I kind of like them. And seeing Kenzo Suzuki, you throw anything Japanese at me, especially early on in my development, when all my dad was showing me was Chinese and Japanese and Korean like fight movies, like I'm all in.
I feel like you watched Old Boy at a very young age.
I probably watched Old Boy when I was like 4. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
So this match, a key thing to note is that 2 things are going on with Paul London and Billy Kidman. 1, Paul London is hurt. He's got a taped up shoulder. He pretty much has 1 arm. And 2, Billy Kidman is going through a little bit of a phase where he is uncomfortable hitting the shooting star press because he actually legitimately like concussed Chavo Guerrero doing it one time, and they turned it into a storyline angle. So
we covered that in the Billy Kidman episode.
We did. Go listen and watch the Billy Kidman episode. It's a good time. This match starts out with, head scissors by London, drop toe hold after the tag, and a leg drop by Kidman, double drop kick to Suzuki by the baby faces. A lot of good stuff here from the reigning champs. But then we get the stun gun by Suzuki and Dupree to Kidman. And this is where I realized, I'm like, oh, the Suzuki episode's going to be lit. When we get the Kenzo Suzuki episode.
Or as he would be known in wrestling after Kenzo Suzuki, Kenzo? Just Kenzo. That's it.
Interesting. I like that.
One name.
What are you, Seal? Big double-handed chop in the corner. Kidman with the bulldog out of the corner and starts to crawl to London. He makes the tag, but the ref doesn't see it. Nick Patrick, you son of a bitch.
Ghost tag.
Who doesn't love a ghost tag?
That should be someone's team name. Ghost tag.
Ghost tag?
Yeah. Make that. Who's the palest person you can think of? It's Paige and someone else.
Yeah, honestly, that's not bad.
Paige goes back to WWE. We do an intergender division, and it's Paige and Sheamus.
I knew you were going to go with Sheamus. London coming in the ring with 1 arm. Dupree dumped to the outside by Kidman. We get an insecurity dropkick double feature by Kidman and London. Looks really good. Billy Kidman is ready. He tells London, I'm going up. I'm going to do it. Gonna hit the shooting star press. He goes up. Crowd's unglued at this point. They're ready. They haven't seen a shooting star press since
a while.
Since Brock Lesnar broke his neck. They're thrilled. They're ready. They want to see it. And
he didn't break his neck though.
I know, almost. And Kidman chickens up. And he comes back off the top rope and he tags in London without him seeing. and goes and has a little moment on the outside at the ramp.
Then he walks out.
And he's close to coming back, and he like looks, and he's like, oh. And while this is happening, Paul London hits one of the best backflip drop kicks I've ever fucking seen.
Yeah, Paul London's so fucking good.
Straight up hits this beautiful, no notes backflip drop kick. It's fucking flawless. And then it goes back to Billy Kidman, who leaves.
Did we do a Paul London episode?
We did.
We did. Because we would have had to, because we did him against Bryan, and there's no shot we're doing him against Bryan if it's not a Paul London episode.
Yeah, it doesn't fit into Bryan's top 15, but it fits in Paul's top 5.
And it's the guy's fucking excellent. He's legitimately one of the cleanest wrestlers I have ever seen. Like I've never seen him make a move not look good unless it's literally just him overselling.
So we go to commercial break here because remember we're on SmackDown, and we come back, and London's going to work by Dupree. And did you catch from commentary who hurt Paul London?
Was it Fifi?
No, that's very funny though. It was Heidenreich, which is the most 2004 sentence I've ever heard.
He hurt Michael Cole too. Kenzo, so he gets knocked out of the ring in a pretty he's getting his shoulder worked over by René. He then like fires up a little bit, gets René off of him, hits his super kick that looked fucking great.
So good. Paul London is a long lost buck. Like this is a great super kick.
Well, we'll get into the long lost buck a little later on in the podcast. Yeah. And so Kenzo Suzuki saves the advantage, though. He gets London back down. London gets knocked out of the ring in a nasty way by Kenzo when he drops the rope while
Kenzo does the rope pull. Yeah,
he takes a nasty bump. Paul London did not care about his health.
He cared about entertaining the people, which was great, but also, I call it Jeff Hardy syndrome. We get it. We like you. Please take some more responsible bumps.
He's also literally insane. He's essentially the Tom Cruise of wrestling,
That's a good thing to be, Tom Cruise of wrestling.
Without the money and fame.
Or the Katie
he's just crazy and has really weird beliefs.
Suzuki sends him into shoulder first into the steel post at ringside. He gets back in the ring. We get the finish. It's a sit-out Michinoku driver by Dupree. It's an STO type thing from Suzuki. And 1, 2, 3, we have new tag champs. Dupree does the dance, and then he convinces Suzuki to do the dance, and Suzuki does the hitch 2-step. Like he doesn't do the lots of flair. This is your home. This is your box. This is where you live. I genuinely took that advice from Hitch. Genuinely.
Are you out of your mind?
Just the 2-step part. Just that. I didn't take the rest of Hitch. What the fuck am I doing here? I took that. I was like, okay, if I have to start dancing, that's my home. I'm going to live there. And honestly, it's not bad. It's not bad advice. This is the weirdest era of tag wrestling. Do you remember who beat them for the tag titles?
Nobody. They're still tag champs still to this day.
Incorrect. They were defeated by Rob Van Dam and Rey Mysterio for the tag team championships December 9th. So they would hold the belts for 3 whole months. Damn. On the March 24th, 2005 airing of SmackDown, do you remember this part? René Dupree was sacrificed by The Undertaker. As a message to Randy Orton ahead of their match at WrestleMania 21, he essentially just interrupted a match between Booker T and René Dupree and then hit a tombstone piledriver on Dupree on the ring steps, and that wrote him off TV for a while.
Okay, now I understand why it had to be René and not Booker.
McMahon style sacrifice. Not that,
okay.
But
I understand why it had to be René in this situation and not Booker. It's bad optics if it's Booker. But why?
Just why? So he would be off for a while. On July 4th edition of Raw, he re-debuted with his French Phenom gimmick, defeated Val Venus, started cutting promos using a new quote for himself as simply phenomenal. He went on a winning streak, but then had a near career-ending hernia in mid-September, was off for a long time, and then would reappear in ECW with long hair and a goatee, and calling himself the most extreme athlete. He did have a health and wellness policy violation in that time, so he was off TV, came back, and then was released from his WWE contract on July 26, 2007 by his own request. And that's where we're going to take our next break. When we get back, we are looking at René Dupree on the Japanese indies doing some work. Back from the breaks, people are currently mad because I'm about to I just accidentally referred to Noah as an indie. It's not. It's not an indie. It's a legitimate company.
Indie.
It's an indie-ish. Our first match is from Wrestle One, which is like the Splinter Cell group of All Japan. It went off for a little bit, existed, and then died, which is unfortunate. But it is one of the weirdest collections of people I've ever seen in a match. It's René Duprée.
This is the weirdest one?
No, the next one somehow gets weirder. Don't worry. But it's René Duprée teaming with Kono and Samoa Joe against Teokea, Rob Terry, and the Great Muta. This is at Wrestle 1 Kaizen Outbreak, March 2nd, 2014, which is essentially a show between Wrestle 1 and TNA.
Yeah. So, I mean, a little bit of context, Evan. Masayuki Kono and René Duprée are pretty much a tag team.
They're in the Desperado stable.
Yeah, those two guys are together. Joe is just there, obviously, for the TNA stuff.
Yeah.
And I guess they've been beefing with Keiji Mutoh. Keiji Mutoh called in the horses with Teokea, and then Rob Terry came over with TNA as well.
I am so excited to talk about Rob Terry.
You shouldn't be.
Why? What's wrong with Rob Terry?
Rob Terry fucking sucked.
What?
This is probably the best match of Rob Terry's career. I'm not even exaggerating when I say that.
So, dear listeners, I know nothing about Rob Terry. I didn't watch TNA in that era. I know he's part of the British thing, Invasion, whatever they were called. Anyways,
he was always hurt, and he was the shits.
This match, my notes are a love letter to Rob Terry. He's fucking phenomenal in this match. He's so good.
All right, Vince, calm down.
Throw the bag at him, damn it.
He looks like a goddamn bodybuilder.
What are your thoughts on blonde René Duprée?
The platinum hair doesn't work for me. For a second there, genuinely thought it was Zack Sabre Jr. This is he's very shriveled. He does not look big at this point. You can tell he kind of let him go.
Leaner, yeah.
Yeah, you can tell he let himself go a little bit. He's not as cut. He's lean. He's not cut at all.
The older you get.
The older you get, he's 30.
Yeah, so am I. I let myself go too. Have you ever considered the platinum blonde hair?
Hell no, I never considered dyeing my hair in any capacity. I like my hair color. That's why, more than anything. I feel like if I had more brown to it, then yeah, I would consider it. But my hair is a really dark, it's more black most days than it is brown, anyways. So it's
I'm going gray anyway, so who the fuck cares? I'll get to platinum blonde
I
eventually.
do have a lot of white spots, to be fair. Not white spots, but strands of white. And every day, I swear, a new one comes in. So it's
yeah.
And then I've had one somewhere in this region. If you're watching on YouTube, somewhere in this region, I've literally had since I was born.
So we start the match with Joe and Kia to start, trading heavy shots, big chop and a boot by Kia. Joe with an elbow to kind of return serve. In comes Terry and Dupree. Big suplex after some posing by Terry. Muta comes into massive applause.
Yeah,
not a surprise.
He's super over.
Yeah, I mean, it's an All Japan Splinter. You think the Great Muta isn't going to be over as hell?
All right, oi. It's Keiji Mutoh. It's different. Anyways, he does his his extra as hell elbow drop. You know, the one where he stops and then
yeah.
We covered the Great Muta here before. We know the hits.
It's a great time. Dupree gets in. So Muta is sent in the ropes. Dupree hits him in the back with a kick. Samoa Joe, his teammate, does not like this. Is not pleased with the lack of sportsmanship. Dupree takes advantage. Obviously, snapmare fist drop to Keiji Mutoh, and then
dead fish.
What are you talking about right now?
I love the dead fish. So in FIFA, there's a celebration. You do that celebration where
fish.
You do the thing. It's you literally just
flop like a fish onto the ground. Yeah.
It's called the dead fish. So every time, when I saw him do it, I was like, bro, the dead fish.
He's watching FIFA. He's playing FIFA. Joe grabs. So what happens is Keiji Mutoh gets sent to the outside and gets beat up on ringside by some young boys, desperado fanboys, whatever you want to call them. Joe walks out, grabs Muta, and sends him back in the ring. And he's like, no. Don't fucking do that. We will win the match legitimately. Samoa Joe is a Puritan.
Samoa Joe is probably a babyface at this point.
I mean, The beautiful thing about Samoa Joe is you can put him on either side of any conflict, and I believe it.
Yeah.
Samoa Joe is one of the only people that could be on either side of like Captain America Civil War, and I'd be like, yep, sure.
Yeah.
I
mean,
believe your reasons.
did they have one that was like that? Like, I don't think they even had a person in the Civil War like that, the Marvel Civil War, that would have been on, like, who towed the line. Maybe, like, Scarlett Johansson?
No. Yeah, Scarlett Johansson a little bit. Yeah, because she lets them get away at the end.
Yeah, Widow, maybe, is probably
Yeah,
the only one that I could
probably
see
Widow.
it for, but...
Today, the recording is Thursday. I know that the finale of Secret Invasion came out yesterday. I'm going to watch it tonight. From what I briefly saw on Twitter, I'm about to be disappointed. Tweet me on Saturday all about it, and I will commiserate with you probably.
I have to finish She-Hulk and then watch...
She-Hulk's a good time.
Then watch Miss Marvel or
great time.
Whatever that was, and then whatever the show after that was. I don't even know.
I don't even remember.
And then I have to watch Secret Invasion.
It's a lot going on. Anyway, so Keiji Mutoh's back in the ring. Joe does his senton on Muto for a 2. Gets the Kirifuda to clutch in briefly, but is freed by his teammates. Joe is in control for a little while. Big scoop slam, knee drop. Joe looks great. This is Joe.
Joe's awesome.
He's great.
Love Joe.
Kia back in against Joe. Joe catches him with a snap power slam. Kono tagged in. Knee in the corner. Big back suplex. Big leaping DDT by Kia. He tags in Rob Terry. This is where it started to grow on me. Clothesline.
The crowd gets hyped.
And that's what I wrote. Honestly, this guy's growing on me. Big delayed suplex. The flexing, leaping elbow. And I said, I'm ready to put the belt on him. Holy shit. He is eating this up. You cannot deny, if you had no back, like knowledge on Rob Terry, and this is the first time you saw him, you would think this guy's pretty fucking good.
You want to know? So when the match started and he came out, I was like, "Wait, no, did I get this wrong? René Duprée is not with Keiji Mutoh's team because it's kind of blurry and I couldn't see their face yet." Like, and he had the same haircut as like a similar hairstyle to what René Duprée had back when he was younger, and he's obviously fucking massive like René Duprée was when he was younger. So I was like, "Oh wait, what?" And then I remembered it's Rob Terry.
And how disappointed were you?
Because I read the name, but I didn't register the name. So when I saw him, I was like, oh, no.
When I read the name first, I thought it was Rob Conway. And I was like, oh, they have their own opposite teams. It's so exciting. And then I realized it wasn't Rob Conway at all.
Follow-away slam. I know you were happy. You love a good follow-away slam.
I do love a good follow-away slam.
Renee chops Terry, and then he gets overpowered. And then the best part of the match for me is when Keiji Mutoh tags back in, and he just starts hitting dragon screws to everyone.
Dragon screws for the whole friends and family. Like, everyone can get some.
Yeah.
These dragon screws are rated E for everyone. Just
it's the tapas. It's tapas dragon screws.
Yeah, that's right. Everybody can have a little bit. It's great.
Little family style. Go around. He puts a figure four.
The figure 4 on Dupree.
Yeah, and I was just like, woo!
Step up knee in the corner by Muto on Dupree. Dragon screw. Shining Wizard for a 2 count as the Desperado Boys, I mentioned earlier, pull the ref out before the 3 count. The Desperado Boys jump in the ring, and them and Dupree and Kono are all trying to convince Joe to splash Muto in the corner. And we get Stone Cold Samoa Joe. Just the quick flip off, and he's not being a part of this shit. Loved that.
Yeah, he said, fuck all that. He turns on them. He walks out.
He rips a chair away from René Duprée, too, because he's going
to
concuss Muto with it.
Yes, the baby faces end up getting back on top. Muto grabs Renee, hits a Phantom Driver. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, hits a Shining Wizard, too. Then
yes. Hits a Shiny Wizard as well. 1, 2, 3. The baby faces win.
Put the belt on Rob Terry. All right, our last match is from Noah Destination 2022. So July 16th, 2022. This is part of the Keiji Mutoh retirement tour. This is, I think, like right near the beginning of the retirement tour. This is the ultimate like Fire Pro wrestling promoter, fucking throw everybody in the pool type of match. Whoever you can find, just bring them into the company for the day. A 10-man tag match with just the most random assortment of people. So let's talk about Dupree's team first. So it's René Duprée.
Yep.
It's Simon Gotch, the vaudevillain that we liked less.
Who I believe teams with René Duprée and Noah on occasion.
Yes, but the more common tag team partner for René Duprée and Noah is El Hijo de Wagner Jr., right? Dr. Wagner Jr., and Anthony Green, the other forgotten young buck.
Yes, he looks exactly like the Young Bucks. Remember that stretch when they were heels where the Young Bucks had like the weird facial hair?
Yes.
He looks like fucking Nick Jackson.
And Stallion Rogers, who I've never heard of but want to throw all of my money at.
Yeah. After some of the shit talking that he did in this match, he basically kind of looks like Nathan Frazier, but also talks shit like Zack Sabre Jr.
Yeah, he curses like indie Kevin Owens. Like he curses like Kevin Steen.
Yeah, it's great. I love that guy.
On the other side is a bunch of Japanese wrestlers. So we have Daika Inaba, we have Kazushi Sakuraba, we have Kinya Okada. When I saw Okada was in this match, I immediately said, I'm sorry, Kei Okada, It's Kinya Okada. Masaki Mochizuki and Shuhei Taniguchi, all on the other team.
Since it flew right by you, and you definitely don't know this guy. Kazushi Sakuraba is a pro wrestling legend, like literal legend. He is also an MMA legend, like legitimate, like first ballot Hall of Fame level MMA legend.
I do like that he wrestles in what can be described as Japan's World Cup kit. Like
yeah,
a dad who just like went and played a game of soccer and then is like, oh, I can grapple a little bit.
Yeah, Sakuraba was a wrestler, and he's basically Minoru Suzuki if Suzuki like was actually successful with the MMA stuff,
and like would actually talk to people.
Sure, yeah, I guess
I feel like Suzuki would never. Like Sakuraba seems like a much more like person.
Sakuraba's. I love Saku, man. He's awesome. But like he's legitimately. I don't know if you know about the promotion Pride that used to be in Japan, which is basically had Fedor and Melenenko. You know, all the heavy hitters who were juiced up to the gills. Sakuraba was the lone natural Japanese guy who was there and would sometimes win, would lose a lot, got his shit rocked, but would also win.
Wow. Okay.
It's great. I like it, and just look at him. Like he would go up against like some of the best, like Shogun Hua and all these other guys, and he'd do well. He'd lose, but he'd do really well. Sakuraba's great. He starts off the match against Simon Gotch, and Gotch decides, I'm going to try to grapple against one of the best MMA fighters of all time.
Yeah, Gotch also has a mohawk that goes over like from the middle of his head to like points near his eyebrows. It's a lot.
I don't like that either.
It's a lot.
Sakuraba somehow manages to turn a Juju Katani into a knee bar, and I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. This guy's like fucking almost 60.
Yeah, it's some good shit. We get a headlock takeover by Gotch, and he grabs his own foot and slams it into Sakuraba's head. Tag in from the very reluctant corner of Sakuraba, and it's Inaba that tags in. Here comes Stallion Rogers, and I love him.
Stallion Rogers is skinny as fuck.
He's so skinny. He's grappling. He does a headlock takeover. Inaba gets a big shoulder block, and then Rogers with a roll through. As he's jumping in the air, yells, "You're stupid!" It's the best drop kick.
It's the basement drop kick right to the face.
I am in. Just sold. Him and Rob Terry, man.
They know what I'm in on. So right after this, Dr. Wagner Jr. tags in, and so does Taniguchi. And they basically give us the exchange of like Minoru Suzuki going up against Ishii.
Yeah, it's just forearm trades to the end of time. No man dropping. They do the lariats where no man drops.
Yeah, for those who don't know, I didn't. This is the first time I've ever seen Taniguchi wrestle. But just based off of this match, I'm just going to assume he's the pro wrestling Noah equivalent of fucking Tomohiro Ishii. Because this guy was just laying his shit in and taking everyone down with him.
I got the exact same vibe. In comes Dr. Wagner Jr. and Taniguchi, like you said. And then there's a thrust kick by Wagner, tag to Mochizuki. In comes Kinya Okada as well to double team Wagner Jr. Tag into Okada. We then get Dupree comes in, and double forearms by Wagner and Dupree because they're a legitimate tag team. They've been GHC tag team champions twice before.
They have great chemistry with each other.
They do. Dupree with chops and jabs in the corner to Okada, hip toss and elbow drop. In comes the forgotten young buck, Anthony Green. Then comes Stallion Rogers again
for another Stallion Rogers.
I love it. It's so stupid. And I think what it is, it's also like, it's so quiet during this match. Like
Yeah.
fans are, it's not they're not into it, but it's also a Japanese crowd. Like they're a little bit
Yeah.
quieter. And then so you can just hear clear as day that Stallion Rogers is in the ring, looks at the corner of the other guys, calls them motherfuckers, and hits a drop kick on Okada. And I
No,
just said,
no,
yes.
he does say motherfuckers, but do you not know what he said in full?
No. Oh, no, I missed
He
part of it?
goes, no, he goes, y'all motherfuckers suck, turns and hits that delayed drop kick right to the Okada in the corner.
I thought you just called them motherfuckers. I thought it was great. All right, in comes back in is Simon Gotch, looking like the 2 p.m. bassist at the Warp Tour. And yeah, it's not pretty. He does look like for a band you've never heard of.
For a band that's on the small stage, that's like barely open. Like it's right as they like the second act, so it's still early enough that the crowd's not huge, but it's not the first act, so they have all the energy.
Yeah, his mom packed him a sandwich.
They're like Thursday. He's the bassist for Thursday. Everybody.
Thursday. Senton on the apron, an elbow drop off the apron by Gotch to Okada. Dupree comes back in, and again, we've got to focus on Dupree here. They're trading. Okada starts to get some momentum. He gets the dropkick and is crawling. And I was impressed. Dupree's selling, we'll talk about throughout, I think is pretty good.
Yeah, he's like really, I mean, even in his first match, you can see it when he's going up against Cuban Assassin. Like,
I think his selling gets better. And I think specifically in these 2 matches in Japan, his selling is very good.
Yeah, he's an excellent wrestler, and you could see the improvement that he's made throughout the years. Like this is recent. This was literally December.
Last
year.
Yeah.
Like this is 7 months, 6-7 months ago, and he's just like he's done so much work on himself as a wrestler, and he's over there thriving. Clearly, him and Dr. Wagner Jr. got some good shit going on over there because back suplex. So they're doing he's getting shots, he's giving them back. Taniguchi comes in, and he hits a back suplex to Dr. Wagner Jr., regular suplex to René Duprée. Then Dr. Wagner Jr. and René Duprée are just like, we're just gonna tag team this motherfucker up.
We're just bigger than you. Watch us be big. Double clothesline as well. Dupree still in. Saved by an enziguri by Wagner. We get that back suplex neckbreaker combo you mentioned earlier. Gotch with an enziguri in the ring to Sakuraba. He manages to get a knee bar locked in. The ring gets busy weirdly quickly and then disperses almost as quickly.
Yeah. Anthony Green basically is the only man from the, I guess, heel side that's still up.
The heel side for sure.
Yeah, that's still up. And he's basically going 1-on-2 against Okada and Mochizuki. Eventually, Mochizuki like makes a way out of there, and it's just him and Okada. Then everyone kind of clears out. Anthony Green is able to hit a twisting flying crossbody from the top on Okada. 1, 2, 3, and the heels win.
Yeah, that's pretty. I was surprised, but also it was pretty good. I was pleasantly surprised.
Did not expect Shizuki Sakuraba to lose this match.
No, that's the last person, based on the information you gave me, that I would have picked. I truly thought they would have pinned Stallion Rogers for talking that much. Shout out Stallion Rogers. I want to interview you. Truly.
Are you going to Google him after this?
I absolutely am going to Google him. Watch the first interview we ever do on our YouTube page. Crossbody Work is going to be Stallion Rogers. Fucking call him a shot, Babe Ruth style, right now.
Like this.
Exactly. What did you think diving back in to the career of René Duprée?
Like, let's be honest, Evan. This was a meme. This was a rib. I chose René Duprée kind of to pop the boys. But honestly,
go ahead.
This is good shit. Especially the matches in Japan. Good stuff here.
He is an incredibly naturally talented wrestler. He has a very instinctual feel to everything he does. I think he is a fantastic heel. Everything we saw here, he was heel. I think he's really good at it. I think the character work in the match with Samoa Joe was really, really good. I think that was he played it off perfectly. All of it was really well done. And I think you can see the growth throughout. I'm really happy for him because up until, I don't know, a couple years ago, or I guess really when I got back into wrestling, what I thought about wrestling was once you were out of WWE, like, that's sorry, man, like, you don't get to wrestle anymore. Like, that's just the way it goes. Like, some people went to TNA, and I knew that some people went to Japan, and that was cool. But like a guy like René Duprée, I didn't hear about him going over, right? but you see, he's made plenty for himself. He's carved out perfect niches for himself. He seems to be happy doing. He's got the podcast. He got married in Japan back in 2009. He seems to be doing well for himself. Like, this is awesome to be able to continue honing the craft, continue to be able to like perform in front of people, right? And some guys love to do it in Japan. They just love that area. So honestly, I'm thrilled for René Duprée. I'm thrilled that this is kind of the way his career went out. If he wanted to get released from WWE, if he wanted to do all this stuff, more power to him. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, look, I cannot say many more good things about this guy. Like, he was just so good. He's a great tag performer. I think he really knows how to play well off of the person that he's in there with. He's a great seller, like really, really good heel work. You could see that he's developed in the ring as well. Like, everything that he hit, I honestly, aside from the first match, which I'm not even going to blame him for, he's 15, but also the person that he's in there with is not very good either.
Yeah, we can't really fault him for that.
Like, there's not really any spots where I was like, yeah, this dude, like, you could see the green, like, that he's a little green here as a wrestler. Like, nothing really popped up to me that was like, yeah, this guy's just like not, like, he's good, but he's not like ready for the spot or whatever. Like, I thought that he fitted perfectly in every single position here that he was given. Like, in the match against, it was a pretty prominent match here. Like, you got fucking Kazushi Sakuraba in the ring. Like, these are a lot of guys who are prominent names in wrestling. And I'm assuming, some of these people that, maybe you and I don't know are probably pretty prominent fingers in Noah and Japanese wrestling in general. And he's just in there freaking killing it. Him and Dr. Wagner Jr. both. Like, Dr. Wagner Jr. is a big name too. And it's just, I'm again, you mentioned the stuff personally for him, like, awesome that he managed to really settle over there in Japan, find a life outside of WWE, because it was it would have been so easy for him. Like, what was he, probably like 27, 28 when he got released?
I believe it was 27. No,
Yeah.
it was 2007. And so he would have been 24 when he was released.
Yeah, he was 24 years old when he was released. It's like, I'm 25 now. I would have been fucking miserable with my life.
Devastated.
And the fact that, he's able to really start planting roots elsewhere, grow as a performer, really make something out of his career. And René Duprée is going to be someone that I definitely remember for the rest of my life. Like, not even just like shits and giggles. Like, I will remember René Duprée, and I will now like go look up more of his work outside of WWE, because clearly there's a lot of good shit in there.
Clearly he's been doing the work. Put it on the Pantheon with other, we would call them meme episodes. You and I have a running list in our head of our favorite episodes on this podcast. Throw it up there with Harlem Heat, with Midian, with King Mabel, with Steve Blackman. Some of the most obscure or weird wrestlers we've ever done. And like, not that
we just basically did to pop ourselves.
We have a good time here. Speaking of things that pop ourselves, next week, you already know what time it is. Next week, we will be into August. It is time for my favorite part of the year. It is Haas Month 4, Haas Month Ghost Protocol, Haas Month The Voyage Home, Haas Month and the Goblet of Fire, Haas Month 4. We are kicking off Haas Month. We're going to be announcing all of them on our Twitter at Crossbody of Work, as well as probably on our Instagram at Crossbody of Work. But the first one we will announce right here, a legendary Haas, a man shaped like a thumb, a man who has main evented a WrestleMania, King Kong Bundy.
It's funny that we covered Spy Kids 3 on the other podcast, because I loved his performance in Spy Kids 1.
As one of the thumb people, absolutely, I loved it too. We will announce all the Haas Month people on our Twitter and Instagram at Crossbody of Work. You can also follow us on YouTube. Subscribe at Crossbody of Work. Get all of our good content. Last week, or I guess earlier this week, when you hear this podcast, we went and drafted the best SummerSlam matches of all time. We tried to pick the best matches between the two of us. Go and watch that draft. Decide who picked the better set of SummerSlam matches to get yourself ready for SummerSlam 2023. We'll also have another SummerSlam adjacent related episode coming out this coming week on Wednesday. So check that out ahead of SummerSlam 2023. Javier, where can people find you on social media?
I'm on the Twitter machine at JMelloSports. Lob the boy a follow if you want to. It's in the bio of the main account, which Evan is going to give you.
I will. Follow me first, at It's Evan Gomes, ITSEVANGOMES. And of course, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Twitch, at Crossbody of Work. As we continue to expand this content, we're trying to provide you with as much as you want. Also, just hit us up on all these social medias to tell us what kind of things you want to see. Tell us the things you're most interested in, and we will hopefully provide. We talked about King Kong Monday coming next week, so it's time for everyone's favorite part of the podcast. Javier, any final words for the people?
This week on Life Advice with Javier, it's another one of those sensible ones where it's actually like proper adult responsibilities and life advice instead of just dumb shit. This week we are discussing budgeting. Budgeting is really fucking important. And I am mentioning this because recently my girlfriend and I started like being more strict with our budgeting stuff. And you know, I downloaded this one app. I won't say its name. It's got to pay me if it wants some airplay out here. But no, it's really helped. You know, you're able to connect to your bank account so that it like pulls up all your transaction and money stuff, and you can like port it over pretty much to the stuff that you've already like planned out how much you would spend.
That's good.
It'll take it out of that. So basically, you get to see like your planned stuff, you get to see like your spent stuff, and then you get to see your remaining stuff. And I'm like, oh, this is so sick. But no, that's good to have. Like, especially if you're like, you know, maybe you're listening to this and you're a teenager and you're like, oh, college is coming up soon. I have like a part-time job now. It's one of those things where you can really track a lot of your expenses, like subscriptions and like food and stuff, and really start budgeting for yourself. And like maybe, you know, you won't have to go, you can save a couple bucks off of your tuition or something like that. Or if you're saving up for a car or something, it's a really easy way of like, you know, planning how much you're going to be spending every month, trying to limit where you can. Another thing I will say, if you're just going to start budgeting, be realistic. It's like when you try to lose weight, like
you got to have realistic goals for everything. That includes budgeting.
Yeah, like when you lose weight, don't freaking quit cold turkey the things that like you really like. Like I'm never gonna quit pizza cold turkey. I'm just not.
But for something, I inadvertently quit caffeine recently.
Ooh, good for you.
I drink a lot of Diet Coke, and I started to cutting down to one a day. Like I slowly weaned myself back to one a day and replacing some of them with caffeine-free Cokes just so it was the exact same flavor. And it just like the big thing was to get rid of the caffeine. And then eventually I just stopped drinking pop altogether, replace it with soda water or whatever. And then I went to visit my wife's family and I forgot like they weren't going to have any Coke in the house, which sounds weird, but they weren't going to have any like Diet Coke on the property. And I just didn't have any. And then we were driving back and I was like, it's been like over 48 hours since I've had caffeine and I've had no headache. And it's because I did the slow gradual thing. You got to, if you really want to like wean off yourself something, it's got to be a slow gradual process. Give yourself lots of time. This process for me started last year. So do that.
Like
also,
let's say you spend, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I was about to say something completely fucking different. So you go right ahead.
Oh, let's say you spend, you should not be doing this. First off, if you spend $400 on like takeout every month, you need to like get yourself checked. But that's like a bit much. Maybe instead of planning, you know, from 400 to like $50, you go like, you know, well, let's shave $50 off the top of it now. Let's go down to $350 for the next month, and slowly take away a couple bucks every month until you're at an amount that you feel
where you want to be
is not only just like comfortable but manageable, maintainable. And you know, it's one of those things where like I think budgeting is really important. It helps with goals and stuff. Like I said, it's not even one of those things that you need to do. Let's say you're not in the process of eventually wanting to buy a house or a car, or you don't have really any of these big expenses on the horizon. You feel comfortable. You know, let's say you travel, you have enough. You're gonna have enough money allotted for that.
You're gonna be fine. Yeah.
If anything, just do it so you could just up your savings so that you don't, I don't know, maybe it saves you a year of work, like in your later years, or maybe more
way to RRSPs, put more way to you know, TFSAs, all of that.
Yeah, your freaking 401ks and stuff like that. Add some more money to it.
I will leave us on my personal best budgeting advice. When I was in high school, There's a woman who used to walk around the neighborhoods near my high school, and we called her the penny lady. And she would just walk around all day, just looking for change. And it was really sad because high schoolers are the meanest people in the world, and people would throw fucking pennies at her, like in her direction, and she would just pick them up and just go about her day. She was like 70, and a couple of us, we were like, "Hey, why did she do this?" And somebody's like, "Oh, I asked her." And I found that I guess she had a hip replacement like a couple of years prior. And like she needed to get a certain amount of steps every day, like the doctor said, like that way everything stays the way it's supposed to. You shouldn't be moving a lot. And she was like, she retired. So she was just like, oh, I'm just going to pick up any loose change I see. And so somebody asked, like, what's the most expensive thing you bought with your change? Through loose change, she had bought a microwave for like $150. Like
Damn.
she found a microwave essentially, which is fucking nuts. So it's not practical advice, but look down on the ground. You may find coins. That's
Or
the
just
advice.
download a budgeting app that's really like useful.
I'm going with the coins. Thank you for joining us this week. We're back next week for the start of Haas month. Get ready. We will see you then.
Bye.